Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. I'm Khalil Abdul Rashid, and my message to all of you tonight is to support the Islamic Society of Boston, the ISBCC. This Ramadan, we've all felt the pain of being separated from the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And while we've done our best to stay connected, and the ISBCC has worked tirelessly and hard to bring us all together so that we can have the most beautiful experience in Ramadan that we could as a community. The House of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ISBCC still needs your help. So my message is to give generously, brothers and sisters, during these last 10 days, particularly on the 27th night. During the time of Laylatul Qadr, this is the time where our generosity is magnified. And you never know, we all never know if we may not ever get a second chance. So we've got to make it count this year and this time. And so therefore it's important to remember that no one else in our community will support the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except us. And we can't do it alone. We need everyone's help and everyone's support to build up and maintain and to enhance the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So join me, brothers and sisters, and I want to encourage myself and all of you to give generously during these last 10 days. Make it count. Make an investment for yourself and your family. Support the ISBCC generously and financially. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Ramadan Kareem.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما مثل الحياة الدنيا كماء أنزلناه من السماء فاختلط به نبات الأرض مما يأكل الناس والأنعام حتى إذا أخذت الأرض زخرفها وزينت وظن أهلها أنهم قادرون عليها أتاها أمرنا ليلا أو نهارا فجعلناها حصيدا كأن لم تغن بالأمس كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يتفكرون والله يدعو إلى دار السلام ويهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم للذين أحسنوا الحسنى وزيادة ولا يرهق وجوههم قتر ولا ذلة أولئك أصحاب الجنة هم فيها خالدون والذين كسبوا السيئات جزاء سيئة بمثلها وتركهم ذلة ما لهم من الله من عاصم كأنما أغشيت وجوههم قطعا من الليل مظلما أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون ويوم نحشرهم جميعا ثم نقول للذين أشركوا مكانكم أنتم وشركاؤكم فزيلنا بينهم وقال شركاؤهم ما كنتم إيانا تعبدون فكفى بالله شهيدا بيننا وبينكم إن كنا عن عبادتكم لغافلين هنالك تبلو كل نفس ما أسلفت وردوا إلى الله مولاهم الحق وضل عنهم ما كانوا يفترون قل من يرزقكم من السماء والأرض أمن يملك السمع والأبصار ومن يخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الميت من الحي ومن يدبر الأمر فسيقولون الله فقل أفلا تتقون فذلكم الله ربكم الحق فماذا بعد الحق إلا الضلال فأنى تصرفون كذلك حقت كلمة ربك على الذين فسقوا أنهم لا يؤمنون قل هل من شركائكم أمن يبدأ الخلق ثم يعيده قل الله يبدأ الخلق ثم يعيده فأنى تؤفكون قل هل من شركائكم من يهدي إلى الحق قل الله يهدي للحق أفمن يهدي إلى الحق أحق أن يتبع أمن لا يهدي إلا أن يهدى فما لكم كيف تحكمون وما يتبع أكثرهم إلا ظنا إن الظن لا يغني من الحق شيئا إن الله عليم بما يفعلون وما كان هذا القرآن أن يفترى من دون الله ولكن تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل الكتاب لا ريب فيه من رب العالمين أم يقولون افتراه قل فأتوا بسورة مثله وادعوا من استطعتم من دون الله إن كنتم صادقين بل كذبوا بما لم يحيطوا بعلمه ولما يأتهم تأويله كذلك كذب الذين من قبلهم فانظر كيف كان عاقبة الظالمين ومنهم من يؤمن به ومنهم من لا يؤمن به وربك أعلم بالمفسدين وإن كذبوك فقل لي عملي ولكم عملكم أنتم بريئون مما أعمل وأنا بريء مما تعملون ومنهم من يستمعون إليك أفأنت تسمع الصم ولو كانوا لا يعقلون ومنهم من ينظر إليك
This initiative is a great initiative, by the way.
العمي ولو كانوا لا يبصرون
It's really great.
إن الله لا يظلم الناس شيئا ولكن الناس أنفسهم يظلمون ويوم يحشرهم كأن
There we go. I can try to unmute you. Trying to unmute
Oh, okay.
orders.
Oh, hey, assalamu alaikum, everyone. Sorry,
Hi.
it was another meeting. It took a little bit longer.
That's fine. We're just getting there. Okay, let's see. Just kind of going through each step of the process, making sure everybody's up and everything like that. Okay, and Zakaria, I think we're trying to get a live stream of the actual masala if possible.
John, I like the beard, by the way.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I have to say that one of the biggest challenges in this pandemic has been trying to cut your hair.
Well, you've got the kufi, so
Yeah,
you can finish it.
Kufi's like clutch for that.
All right, so we have okay, great. And if anyone who's muted wants to communicate, you can use the Zoom group chat feature That's going to be our primary mode. Okay, so I think we're live streaming on, yes, we're live streaming on Facebook on different platforms. Okay, great. And again, just as a quick recap, I'll go through. I'll start off and I'll announce the speaking order right at the beginning, and that way everybody can kind of go from the top, if that works. And I won't go in between everyone. I'll just let everybody go in the order in which I announce, if that's okay. I'll prompt obviously if there's a need, but otherwise we'll just kind of move on through from there. And if anyone has any issues, you can always private message me on the group chat if obviously there's anything going on there. But otherwise, we'll start off in about 1 or 2 more minutes. Make sure we give everybody else a chance to go. I had several outlets that have said they're just going to pick it up off of Facebook or off of YouTube later, by the way.
Assalamu alaikum.
So I'll go ahead and hide the non-video participants, just to clear up a little bit of screen space, and that'll keep the reporters in the lobby as well. Okay, let's go ahead and start off. We have gotten a few messages that we've got some media who are watching us on Facebook on either of the streams there, and a few who are looking at YouTube as well. So welcome to everybody who's not here. If you are a media outlet who are watching in another platform, then please go ahead and come into the Zoom meeting if possible, or comment on the Facebook page with any specific messages you might have during the Q&A portion. It's a pleasure to have everyone here today. Thank you so much for gathering in an unconventional format. I hope that you'll bear with all of us because this is certainly a new experience for everyone in the media and obviously everyone who might be watching at home as well. We're all trying to adjust and adapt to different expectations and different conventions with Zoom in lieu of an in-person meeting, but we felt that it was best for the safety of all participants that we could go ahead and ensure that everyone was maintaining social distancing by doing this via Zoom. My name is Dr. John Robbins. I'm the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Chapter of CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, and it's my pleasure to welcome our group of individuals here today for a brief press conference. This is an initiative that arose from a group of local Muslim physicians in the Massachusetts and greater Boston area specifically, who saw a great need in our community for being able to provide greater personal protective equipment for the wider non-medical use. That is, individuals who are interacting with the public on a large scale, and yet who are not doing so in a medical capacity. So with that in mind, this group took it upon themselves through private donations and out of their own pockets to raise money to purchase 40,000 face masks that could support the wider community and also provide an impetus for others to do the same. We hope that this is an opportunity for those who are also watching to give and support the initiative as well. You can do so at isbcc.org/donate, marking personal protective equipment. and that will again serve to fund the program. Our group of panelists here today will speak briefly about the impact that they will be providing through this personal protective equipment at their local mosques on the local level. They'll be speaking as representatives of the city of Boston and also as representatives of wider Muslim non-governmental organizations in Massachusetts and across the country. We'll basically have everyone speak once briefly for a few minutes throughout, and then at the end have Q&A for any reporters or any individuals at home who are watching who want to view as well. Again, my name is Dr. John Robbins. I'm with the Council on American Islamic Relations, Massachusetts. First of all, to speak, we'll have Yusufi Vali, the Director of the Mayor's Office of Immigration and excuse me, the Director of the Mayor's Office for Immigrant Advancement in Boston. After that, we'll have Elizabeth Ismail, a trustee of the Islamic Society of Boston Cultural Center, the largest mosque in New England. Afterward, we'll have Irfat Carroll, the General Secretary and spokesperson for the Islamic Center of New England in Sharon. And finally, we'll have Dr. Sena Saeed, Health Policy and Advocacy Director at American Muslim Health Professionals and Senior Medical Director at Sanofi Pharmaceuticals. She's also a neurologist with a public health background. So any questions that you might have for these individuals, please do so in Zoom chat, and we'll be actively monitoring that throughout. And I'll have, again, a Q&A portion at the close for any questions that anyone might have. Thank you very much again, and I'll open it up for Yusufi Vali.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Robbins. On behalf of Mayor Walsh and the city of Boston, I just want to wish a blessed Ramadan the last few nights and days to our Muslim community, and want to wish our Muslim community an Eid Mubarak. I know we can't gather to observe the night prayers in Ramadan or the Eid prayer, but the mayor hopes we can make the best of this important occasion through creative means like video conferencing. In commemoration of Eid, the mayor did want you all to know that the Boston Resiliency Fund just announced funding of 1,000 meals to the organization Acetone to be distributed to Boston's Muslim residents on this coming Sunday. The coronavirus is unlike anything we've experienced in living memory, and it's testing our city in a way that it's never been tested before. It has required a major all-hands-on-deck response, and it has affected every aspect of daily life in Boston. Every day, we're sending our love, our support, and our prayers to everyone who's battling this terrible illness, and our hearts break for the families who have lost loved ones. Today's announcement is a great example of a faith community, the Muslim community, stepping up with an all-hands-on-deck response on behalf of neighbors. The people of Boston have shown bravery, strength, and solidarity with one another since this crisis began. People are focused on protecting their fellow Bostonians, especially the most vulnerable among us. Wonderful acts of kindness, such as the one we highlight today of mass distribution, shows what it means to be Boston strong. I want to thank CARE Massachusetts, American Muslims Health Professionals, ISBCC, Islamic Center of New England, Masjid al-Karim, and most importantly, the group of physicians who I understand launched this effort. The Muslim community is diverse, and as we all know, nationally, nearly 2/3 of it in the US is first or second generation immigrant. The majority of physicians who launched this effort, in fact, I believe all, are of immigrant background. It's important to remember that we can't get through this crisis without our immigrant neighbors' contributions. Immigrants in Boston make up 55% of health aides, 27.1% of nurses, and 0.7% of physicians and surgeons. Immigrants are providing essential services as well. In Boston alone, 48% of accommodation and food workers are foreign-born, with approximately 23% of Boston's undocumented population working in this industry. We're all in this together, and we all depend on one another. Immigrants are on the front lines of fighting COVID-19, and that's why there's no place for xenophobia. The virus doesn't discriminate, and neither should we. This is not a time for scapegoating. It's not a time for stigmatizing anyone. As today also shows, immigrants are on the front lines of acts of kindness. Mayor Walsh has expressed his hope that when we get through this, we will have a new appreciation for all the things we hold dear. I hope that we will never again take simple joys and freedoms for granted. In the face of challenges like this one, our city shows its true colors. We're a resilient city of resilient people. That's reflected in our strong neighborhoods, in our enduring traditions, and in the way we govern at the local level. The fact is, we've been strengthening Boston's ability to respond to a crisis like this for years. We built deep connections between city government, neighborhood leaders, community groups, and faith communities, just like the Muslim community has with its fellow neighbors. Thank you again for all your leadership in making this effort happen. Eid Mubarak to everyone.
Thank you, Yusufi. I just would like to start by saying that the ISB and ISBCC were very honored to be part of this mass distribution program, and we would like to thank all of the doctors who worked together to make this possible. Currently, we have about 20,000 masks on hand at the ISBCC, ready to be distributed, and the other 20,000 should be arriving shortly. Ramadan is a very special time for Muslims. We fast for 30 days from dusk to dawn. We worship God. We hope to reach a level of piety. It humbles us and fills us with empathy for those who are less fortunate. This time of spiritual reflection and prayer, we really put an emphasis on doing good deeds for the society around us, help everyone out. This year we have not been able to spend time with family and friends as we usually do during Ramadan. And it has forced us to look at different avenues to pursue. And this mass project has been a really great thing that we can do. In addition to this, the ISB has been reaching out to the community. We've been trying to, since our mosques are closed, bring our mosques to the community and to the community at large, everyone, with live streaming online. We've tried to bring a virtual mosque to everyone. We have lots of daily programming with religious and spiritual programs, and cultural arts programs for kids. And we've been really trying to find different ways to reach out to the community. We've been staying connected through the virtual mosque, but also we've been focusing on community projects and providing services to those in need around us. We've launched a You Are Not Alone campaign, and where we are distributing $25,000 of local aid through partner charities. Throughout Ramadan, we've also been distributing 200 meals a day to community members. We've been working in partnership with Islamic Relief and distributed 500 bags of rice to those in need. And we've partnered with the city of Cambridge to help with food distribution throughout that city. In addition to this mass project, we also have had community members get together and sew 1,300 masks that we've just donated to the Cambridge Health Alliance. So we're really honored to have this opportunity to participate in this 40,000 mask distribution. And we're happy to work with the mayor of Boston, Mayor Walsh, and Mayor Siddiqui of Cambridge. And we're hoping that we can continue to build upon these partnerships that we have started during this time. And I just want to wish all of us happy Eid and a blessed last few days of Ramadan.
So it's difficult to kind of feed off of what the two basically started off with, but it's actually an honor to be a part of this campaign and the distribution. And obviously, it's been an overwhelming experience, I'm sure, by everybody, the way COVID has hit our state. But I'm actually very honored and proud to be a part of such a strong organization, the Islamic Center of New England, and all the other Islamic communities at large, how they've come together almost literally overnight and started implementing policies and procedures to help community. We have been, it's been nonstop, and I think it's been a blessing that in the month of Ramadan, where we tend to want to increase our charity work and increase our intentions to want to do as much as we possibly can. The way that our community has come together in order to do this has been phenomenal. Like the ISBCC, we've been organizing multiple outreach programs. We have organized, some breakfasts that we distributed to families through our local mosques, drive-by, and we've also been distributing boxes of food to those who need it. We've also been partnering up with other organizations to come together and distribute to whomever is in need at any given time. I'm also very proud of the response levels through our organization of the online teams that we've put together for the groups of people that have come together who have put together great programming for our children, for our youth, for our adults. The response level has been absolutely phenomenal. To be a part of this right now with the distribution for the 40,000 masks, I think is just one step more of the amazing gestures that have come about throughout our community. And as far as the Islamic Center of New England, we are definitely honored and very proud to be a part of such a great group of people who are coming together to do the best that they can. Without saying too much more, because I believe that the first two speakers said more, and not to replicate anything, but I do wish everybody a safe and healthy Eid Mubarak, and in the last few days of these times in Ramadan, that we can try and get as much done as we possibly can.
Thank you, Carol. So my name is Sana Sayed. As John mentioned in the beginning, I'm a neurologist by training, and I work as a senior medical director at Sanofi. And I am here today as a representative of American Muslim health professionals. And generally, as a public health professional myself, I wanted to, I'm joining just to share my thoughts on this effort with the 40,000 masks that has been initiated by the Muslim community. In general, I would just say that, as all of my previous speakers have mentioned, that this is Ramadan, a very unconventional Ramadan that we're celebrating, and we're fasting our way towards a very unconventional Eid. But it is very fitting to see that conventional acts of kindness are still a part of the Ramadan experience, and to contribute to the solution for this pandemic as a community. It's very heartening to see that. And now, as we're discussing the distribution of these 40,000 masks by physicians in the Muslim community, I think it's very critical to think about how important that is as an effort for the overall situation that we are in currently. Because we have arrived at a point where, due to some deficits in testing and some initial delays in the proper public health measures, we have a number of folks out there that are likely asymptomatic carriers. So when you think about these 40,000 masks, you have to think about the fact that it is critical for people to be wearing these masks, not only for themselves, but in fact to protect others around us. So when we're dealing with this pandemic, I think it is very critical to understand that just as we have these gestures of kindness of distributing masks, it is also a gesture of kindness that we wear that mask. That level of social responsibility is so absolutely necessary to help all of us overcome this pandemic, because definitely the Muslim community is a critical part of the solution right now, but all of us out there need to be a part of the solution. Right now, there's only two sides, that of staying well and that of being sick. And being sick has such a downstream effect of morbidity and mortality that I think all of us need to choose wellness in this at this point. So I would like to applaud this effort, and I think it's very important to understand that the impact of this effort is such a critical part of the overall solution for this pandemic. Now, I would just comment that as a board member for American Muslim health professionals that I mentioned earlier, I've had some inroads to how Muslim health professionals around the country are contributing to the solution for this pandemic, whether they are the frontline workers as physicians or nurses or other healthcare workers. Muslims are represented in that group of folks as well. We have also seen, like, this effort here. There are other communities and mosques in the country that have also worked towards mask making drives and food drives for the community at large at this very difficult time. And I know for a fact that different board members of AMP have also been part of this effort. By AMP, I mean American Muslim Health Professionals. And American Muslim health professionals as well have also worked in advocating towards different solutions that we need for this public health problem that we're in. And we're collaborating with all of these organizations, as you can see right now in front of you. So this has really been a time that all of us have come together, not only within the Muslim community, but more broadly as well, because we are seeing that this problem is bigger than all of us. So I really need to take this opportunity to emphasize how important it is for all of us to recognize the importance of being a part of this solution together, because no one community or no one person can actually help overcome this enormous pandemic that we are facing. So this effort is such a tremendous step in the right direction, I would say. And at the end of it, I would just reiterate what everyone else has said. And I hope everyone has a happy and healthy Ramadan and an early Eid Mubarak to those who celebrate. And thank you for this opportunity as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sanna, and thank you so much, everyone who's joined today. Any media outlets that are actively in the chat here, please post any Q&A you might have for our participants that are currently here. I've also been getting a few via email and Facebook, so I'll go ahead and start off with one of those. First, the question was, do we know what percentage of the religious institutions are participating in this within Massachusetts? So right now we currently have the Islamic Society of Boston Cultural Center, the Islamic Council, or the Islamic Center of New England, which encompasses both Sharon and Quincy, and we have a representative from Sharon on board. And we also have Masjid al-Islam, my apologies, down in Rhode Island, which is going to be supplying a few as well. So these currently account for there's about 5 major mosques in Rhode Island, but over 33 mosques in Massachusetts. However, we're very fortunate that these are 2 of the very largest in the state. The Islamic Society of Boston Cultural Center is the largest mosque in New England. It has about 1,500 worshipers per week. The Islamic Center of New England in Quincy and Sharon, I understand, has around 750 worshipers each week. At least this was pre-pandemic, I should say.
Approximately, yes, yeah.
Okay. The next question was for Dr. Sanna Syed, which is the significance of the general public wearing these kind of masks after medical workers. So the question was, should we be prioritizing primarily medical workers with this and making sure that all of them have KN95s, or is it really to a point where every single person that has public interaction should be wearing one of these masks at some level?
I think that some level is the critical term to use here. So definitely medical workers need to be prioritized because they're the ones who are experiencing the highest levels of exposure here. So I think the priority lies in providing them these N95 PPE masks for sure. Moving towards the general community, I think considering the situation we're in, using a mask is critical, and it doesn't necessarily have to come to the standards of an N95 or a K95. They can use a general mask, a disposable mask, or a cloth mask that they can wash and reuse. But I do think that the community at large should be wearing a mask because, like I mentioned when I was speaking earlier, that there is a very high likelihood that we have a number of asymptomatic carriers because our move to actually implement testing was a little bit late. And as most of you have probably seen the statistical projections, the number of people who are probably infected, asymptomatic carriers, or otherwise, basically asymptomatic carriers, it's likely that they can spread the infection. So wearing a mask really is about protecting others in this case. So I would say that it's probably difficult for everyone to be wearing a PPE unless they're in close contact with an actual, with a patient. So for that reason, medical workers need to be prioritized for that level of mask wearing, but the general public while going outside should wear a mask in general.
Thank you. The next question is from Stephanie Solis with Mass Live. This is directed for Elizabeth, excuse me, with the ISBCC. She's interested in hearing community leaders recap what concerns or issues they've heard from the Muslim community. Are masks too expensive or just overall hard to come by? What needs to be done to make masks more accessible overall across Boston area for Muslims?
I think that mostly what we have heard is that they are more hard to come by than expense. You know, we are working to see if we can provide some masks to those in need, possibly by doing another home sewing of masks. But I think that that's really the most difficult part at this point, is for people to get masks. They don't want to use the medical grade, and those, you know, they're hard to find. People have ordered masks online and it's taking a long time, or they're not coming in. So this is procuring masks for the general public has been the biggest issue that we have seen.
Well, thank you very much. I'm getting a message from Boston Herald reporter as well, asking basically what is the distribution process for these masks? Will we be handing them out at the ISBCC and the ICNI Sharon, or will we be having other people do this, and how will we maintain social distancing in the process? Excellent question. So in terms of distribution, we'll be selecting organizations that are going to be serving impacted communities and distributing those masks there. The actual mosques themselves are not going to be planning on doing direct distribution of individuals at the mosque site in order to preserve safety protocols. We'll be determining in conjunction with the Boston Office of Infectious Diseases and representatives in the city what are the most high impact areas in which the masks can be distributed, and then be distributing those organizations such as community health centers or community service organizations which have the most need. We're very fortunate to be able to partner with the city of Boston in this, especially in terms of the ISBCC, to be able to determine based on their pre-existing protocols and guidelines who are those individuals who it would be most impactful to be providing a mask. And those are the questions that I'm seeing based on our Facebook, based on private messages, and based on other outlets. If anyone else in the chat has particular questions, or if anyone else has questions online, I'm sure we'd be happy to answer them in the remaining minute. So I'll hang on for 1 minute to leave that door open. Okay, I believe those are the questions that we have then. Seems like it's a good time to draw the press conference to a close, but I will go ahead and put my email out here in the chat. That way, if anyone has follow-up questions, they can request on there. Additionally, we are still live on CARE Massachusetts' Facebook page, the Islamic Society of Boston Cultural Center's Facebook page as well. And if there's any need there, then we can fill that. If any media outlets have requests for video or footage, please email me about that privately. You all have my contact information based on the press release. And I want to take a moment just to thank all of our participants and those who are working so hard to make sure that we're defending and supporting our neighbors during this blessed month of Ramadan, which is the holiest month in the Muslim calendar, and the time in which we are encouraged and enjoined to engage in acts of generosity and community support. It's our pleasure to be able to live out the best ideals of our faith through this practice. And I want to thank our community leaders who have joined this call. Ismail, excuse me, Arafat Kero, and Dr. Sana Saeed. Thank you so much again, everyone, and have a wonderful, blessed rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.